Great. So if you can hear me, I think we can now proceed with our class. If my audio is okay, then I think we can proceed with the class.
Yes, now it is okay.
Okay. Somebody kindly confirm what was the last thing that we were able to cover in class? The last time we had this class, what do you remember? In our last session, what were we able to cover?
I think we were recording.
Okay, good.
Is it record? Not recording, record.
Record, eh? Eli, anything you can remember?
Yeah, yes, we are looking on data management. We are doing decoding and the two types of decoding, the using the same, doing on the same variable and different variable. Yes.
Good, perfect. So I think that is in order. So we are just introducing data management, and we say data management is the phase whereby we will try as much as possible to play around with our data as we try to make sense out of the insight that you're going to get. So the first thing that you did in that class was to do recording, and with recording, this is where you when you are trying to change variables that were initially coded as string, and now you want to convert them to numeric variables that were coded as string, and you want to code them as numeric. Then that is the point you will be doing what you call recording. Again, we say there are two types of recording. Either you make changes in the same variable that you will create, so the same variable that is already there, or you make changes to a new variable which is going to be created. So we say record into same variable. That means the changes will overwrite the already existing column, and then record into a different variable. This is where the desired changes will be created in a totally new column, and now it will have the desired property that you want. So today I want to introduce first the concept of descriptive statistics, and then with descriptive statistics I will be introducing the concept in data management called select. So I said I will first introduce descriptive statistics, and then based on our understanding of descriptive statistics, then that is when I will introduce another concept of data management known as select. So if you go to, I believe we had saved our data file somewhere in your desktop, so just go and open it. So the data set is called employee data. So I'll just go straight and open that data set. And of course, make sure that this part of gender, you are now having 1 and 2 for male and female. Now, in conducting any descriptive statistics, or when you're doing descriptive statistics, there are two guiding points or things that will guide you on what type of descriptive statistics that you're going to do. So majorly, we have two types. Now, and these types depend with the structure of a variable that you are trying to analyze. In short, I'm just trying to say, when you want to perform descriptive statistics for variables that are categorical, and I'll explain to you what it means by categorical. So if you look at the structure of a variable and you find it that they are categorical in nature, then the type of descriptive statistics that you will do, you will perform what you call extraction of a frequency. When you look into your data and the variable that you're dealing with, you want to perform what you call descriptive statistics. If you look at the structure and you find that it is categorical, then the type of descriptive statistics that you will do, you will extract frequencies. So when you talk about frequencies, this is where we just say how many times a certain group appears. If I use an example of gender, you realize either somebody is in the category male or category female. Either someone is in the category male or in the category female. So if you want to analyze gender, you'll just say how many people are male, how many people are female, and you should be good to go. Now, when you talk about variables which are in continuous, they are continuous variable. When you talk about continuous variable, then the type of descriptive statistics that you will perform, you will run what you call measures of central tendency. When you're dealing with continuous variables, the type of descriptive statistics that you will do, you will extract what you call measures of central tendency. Anyone who wishes to remind us an example of a measure of central tendency? Example of measures of central tendency? Yes, Eli?
Okay, for measures of central tendency, these are things to do with the mean, median, mode. Yeah.
Perfect. Thanks a lot. Ruth, you have the same idea?
Yes.
Perfect. So in short, measures of central tendency, this is where you extract mean, mode, standard deviation, and so forth. So let's start with analyzing categorical variable, whereby we extract frequency, and then after categorical variable, we go now to the continuous variable. And an example of a categorical variable is gender. If you look at gender, we have the category male and female. We also have employment category, the one which is known as job cut. For job cut, you can see there are different levels. So these are another example of categorical variable. And also this one on the case of minority classification. If you want to analyze a categorical variable, just go to analyze, descriptive statistics, and then go to the option of frequencies. Analyze, descriptive statistics, and then select frequencies. If you click on frequency, you will now have a chance to select all your categorical variables and you transfer them to the other side. So maybe you can come here and click on gender, click on that arrow so that it moves there. Education levels, sorry, not education level, employment category, and also minority classification. So those are the ones which are categorical. If you click OK, you realize that the software tells you we have 258 males against 216 females. That is represented by 54% and 45%. So basically what you're seeing here is the number of times that a certain platform or a certain group was appearing. Now let me introduce how to analyze continuous data. And an example of a continuous data is like somebody's salary. You're seeing the exact amount of money that this person is earning. So if I want to analyze data whereby you're seeing exact amount or the exact value, then you will just come here to analyze descriptive statistics, and then analyze descriptive statistics, and then select descriptive. If I click on descriptive, I can be able to select that I have, let's say, current salary, and let me just have one there. But you can have like the one we've done before is where you have a lot of variables here. But if you want to do it only with single variable, it's also possible. So proceed and click OK. And again here, you will see that the average salary stands at around $34,000 with maximum, with minimum, and then also with standard deviation. So up to this level, I believe you already have a clue on how you're supposed to analyze your variable in as far as descriptive statistics is concerned. And I repeat, one, you will have to check at the structure of that variable. If that variable is categorical, then you will perform or you will extract a frequency table. If you look at the structure of your variable and you find that it's a continuous variable, then the type of descriptive statistics that you're supposed to do is the one which says it's called measures of central tendency. And the example of a measure of central tendency is what you're having here. Now, let's go back. We are not actually learning descriptive statistics, but we have just introduced descriptive statistics as a way of understanding data management. So that as we play around with our data, we are also trying to get some insight so that we will learn on how to come up with a conversation in as far as data is concerned. So the second thing that I want to teach under data management is what we call select. What I intended to teach you under data management is what we call select. And basically, select works this way. Assuming you want to understand salary, for instance, for this data set, we have that variable called salary. But somebody tells you they don't want to know salary for everyone, but instead they want maybe salary only for females. Let me put that into context. You want to analyze salary in this data set, but again, you don't want salary for everyone, but instead you want everyone or any person who is a female. So when you're having such kind of approach, then this is the point whereby you need to apply the concept of select, which means you will select individuals who meet a certain condition. And what is that condition? That condition is if you are a female. How do you identify a female? A female can be identified by a code or a value of 2 in as far as gender is concerned. So we're trying to say if your gender is the same as number 2, if your gender is the same as number 2 in the data set, then it means you fit to be selected. So that is what we call a condition. Okay. Now, how do you apply condition? If you are to apply condition, then you do what? I will come here to data. If you are now to apply that condition, just come to the option data, select cases, data, select cases, and then among the items you'll see here, among the list of items you see, so we'll go for the option of if condition is satisfied. We'll go to the option of if condition is satisfied. So we'll click on that and then proceed and click on if condition is satisfied, and then if, and if I click on if, then this is where I'll put the condition or the criteria to identify a female. So I'll say if gender, I transfer it to that side, is equal to 2. Remember, females were identified as 2 in as far as gender is concerned. So we'll say if gender is equal to 2, that means somebody is meeting that criteria. Now I'll click continue and then okay. And if you go and check your data, you realize that there are some people who have been selected out. And if I check from here now, these are individuals who are male. Male, 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 and they're here. So what it means is from now moving forward, any analysis that I do, it will be purely for females because females are the ones who have been selected. Now, if you want to understand salary, but now it's for female, all I have to do is now go and analyze salary because condition has already been catered for. So for me to analyze salary, I'll just go ahead and say analyze descriptive statistics and then descriptive. Analyze descriptive statistics and then descriptive. If I click OK, you will realize that I can see I only have 216. So these 216, it means the females who are in this data set are only 216. If you look at the previous analysis that you had done, you'll see that the population is 474. So that means out of 474 participants, 216 are female. And in terms of their salary is around $26,000. That is on average. Okay. Now, I have a task for you, just a small one. I want you to attempt analyzing current salary, but this time I want to know current salary for males. I want to know current salary for male. So let's do that in the next few seconds. Analyze for me current salary for males, and at least tell me on average how much a male is earning. What's the average salary of a male? Average salary for a male? Moses, what are you getting?
I think I never recorded my gender, so I'm still behind. I'm decoding them.
Recording. Make sure you save your work, because so that you don't have to be doing recording every time. So since I think the class is recorded, so maybe you can go and see and now challenge yourself. If I do now for males, how will I be able to do for females? So what I was looking forward to, if you are now to find only males, then you do what? You will go back to select, and then you say data, select cases. But now the condition, instead of saying gender equals to 2, you will now say gender equals to 1. And then remember this part, you use the on screen. Don't use your keyboard. It's highly recommended that you use the on screen items and not your keyboard. So I'll click continue and then OK. That means the individuals who will be selected are the ones whose gender is the same as 1. As you can see now here, they are no longer selected. Now, in short, I was just trying to explain to you, in terms of select, you apply a condition, and that condition now guides the process of your analysis. Once you finish doing select, always remember to go back and do what? And reset your work. Once you finish select, go back and reset your work so that you now start analyzing for everyone. And to select, to refresh or to reset your work, I'll just go to data, select cases, and then somewhere down here you'll see an option of reset. You'll see an option of reset, and if you click on reset and then OK, you realize that now you would have gone back to now analyzing for everyone. Good. So that is the second thing that you're supposed to know in as far as data management is concerned. Unless there's a question, I will be introducing the third part of data management. If there's a question, just unmute your mic and talk to me. Yes, Ruth, you have a question? Okay. Maybe Ellie, just in case Ruth is not ready.
Yes, just have a small problem.
Okay.
On this, on the dialogue box.
Yes.
Select cases if that box. When I'm trying
Let me
to
just go
apply
there.
that.
So you say data, select.
Yes. Then yeah, Apple. Yes. Then I'm supposed to key in gender there is equals to 1.
Yes.
Yeah. Then when I'm trying to run that, then I'm supposed to go direct to continue.
Then okay.
So for my on my yes, then okay. On my SPSS, that one it is not going through. I don't know what's wrong.
Do you have some items? Go to your variable data view, and then check
Yes.
you have items under gender.
Okay.
Any other person with challenges? Because there's some assignment that I'll give you, and you are supposed to apply this concept. Harrison?
Yes, I still have the same challenges.
Good. So go and check if gender has some data. Just in case it's not there, so it means you're not doing well with the recording, the concept of record. Okay. Good. So it means our journey should go back to record. So go and find a new data set and then proceed.
I think what happened.
Yes, Moses.
Yeah, remember we started with different. We downloaded this dataset from the SPSS database Ukondani. So
Yes.
I think most of the guys never recorded it at as it was because it had an error. I remember that.
Yes. So that's why I said go back to the way you extract. You see the path that we follow. Local disk C, program files. So follow that path. And then once you get that data set, you know very well the first thing you need to do is to change variable gender, which is currently in coded as a string. Now convert it to become numeric, and then immediately you do that. That is where now you will come to this second part of select. Okay, so don't skip any of those parts. Good, unless there's any other question apart from what the challenges that you're facing. I think I will introduce the second part, sorry, the third part. Let me introduce the third part, and then maybe you'll just, I'll give you time to fix all of them. So the next thing that I want to teach under data management is something called split. So you can also apply the concept of split. And with split, it works more or less the same as select, but this time you're not actually going to put condition. And I'll use an example. Assuming you want to analyze current salary, the variable of interest is current salary, and you want current salary to be displayed or to be splitted into gender. So you want to know females how they are earning, males how they are earning. If you want to understand actually this concept of select and split, you just tumia Kiswahili. Useme select. What is select in Kiswahili? Anyone to help us there? Select ni kufanya nini?
Kuchagua.
Kuchagua.
Yes.
Alafu split.
Kugawanya.
Perfect. So in short, ukifanya analysis, when you're doing your analysis and you're saying you're analyzing salary, either utachagua watu wenye wanastahili kuanalyziwa ama utafanya analysis lakini hiyo analysis igawanyishwe. Now let's see how split works. If I want to use split, let me split against gender. So I will go here to data and then split file, data, split file, and then immediately I select here, I will come to this second option of compare groups. So basically here I'm comparing my analysis is meant to compare the groupings under gender, which is now male and female. So I will compare groups and then I select gender to be now that variable that the group should be compared. I click OK, and then now I proceed and do the analysis. Remember, at this level, I've not yet done the analysis. So if I want to do the analysis, I will go to Analyze, Descriptive Statistics. Since I'm analyzing current salary, I will do what? I will go for the option of Descriptive. Analyze, Descriptive Statistics, and then Descriptive. If I click on Descriptive, I will see current salary in there. So I'll go straight and just click OK. Oh, I can see this one is current salaries for male. I think on my side I didn't reset. So let me reset first the concept of select. So you see, I still have this problem here. So let me reset. And then now if I go ahead and analyze my data, I say descriptive. You see now my results appears with both groupings. So I have males and I also have female. So if I want to see the average salary of a male, I will say $41,000. If I want to see the average female, the average salary of a female, then I'll say $26,000. Now, are we a bit somewhere in as far as select and split are concerned? Or there's some challenge? Are we at least getting some hint on how split and select works? Member of the team to confirm that?
Yeah, yes.
Good, good. Now I want us to have a conversation. Okay, I want us to start now having a conversation. And with my conversation is now what we call interpretation. Our job is to interpret these numbers. Okay, so Ruth. So Ruth is asking for split. So we say for split, you will just go to data, split file, and then compare groupings. Make sure you click on the option of compare groupings. And then inside the box, have it there gender. Because you're comparing now your analysis based on the items or the groups in gender. And then if you say okay, you're good to go. So the next stage is to now perform your analysis. I will say analyze descriptive statistics, and then again descriptive. Since current salary is inside there, don't have to worry. So just proceed and click OK. Now, I said I want us to have a conversation. Now, somebody in this class, I want you to interpret for me or tell me something about this data. Sorry, or these results that we're having here. Anyone who wants to tell us based on anything item or any item you're seeing on this table, tell me or explain to me what is happening in these results.
Let me try.
Go on, Moses.
Okay, I think I can say that we have two categories. We have male and female.
Yes.
In the minimum salary for a male is $19, for female is $15. So the maximum for male is $135, and for female is $58. So I think I can decide. I can make a conclusion that male are somehow superior in terms of wages. Even if you look at the average or the mean, male seems to be having a lot of, they earn more, that they're being paid higher as compared to the female. Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot, Moses, for that. Now, any other person who wants to try? Or how would you approach in as far as making sense out of this data is concerned? Any other person who wants to give a shot before I throw in another question? Okay, let me check that. Yes, Juma, you can proceed.
Yeah, there seems to be high salary gap among the male compared to the females. There are some males who are earning as low as 19,000 and others are earning as high as 135,000. Yet the female, the difference in the gap between those who are earning low and those who are earning high wages is a little bit small.
Okay. Thank you so much, Juma, for that. There's somebody else who wanted to say something. I don't know. It's Eli. Eli, you wanted to say something concerning the results.
I just wanted to make a very simple nene.
Yes.
On that, on the table,
Yes.
because gender is a categorical variable. Just wanted to compare the number of males and females which are there. Which is if you look at the data, the number of males tends to be higher than the number of female.
Good. In terms of population or the distribution, Eli is bringing
Yes.
on board the concept of even just by looking at the numbers or the
Yes.
sample.
Yes.
Now let me go back to Moses, or unless there's somebody else who wants to try again. Moses, what if I tell you to interpret for me these results, but don't tell me the numbers? I don't want you to tell me about 41. I don't want you to tell me about 26. Interpret for me these results. What would you say?
I think I just say that male seems to be having higher salaries compared to female, and something of the sort.
What is making you say that?
Their mean amount of salary.
Good. Now, thank you so much, Moses, because I wanted you to take me there. On average, men earn almost twice the women. Yes. Thank you, Jackson. Guys, when you're interpreting your work, sometimes you might be told maybe you are regulated in terms of number of pages that you're supposed to have. And then somebody might sit down and wonder, okay, where am I supposed to get all these words to interpret these results? I'm sure one or two of us have been to a circumstance like that, whereby unauliza hii analysis nimefanya ni mbili, ndatoa wapi all the wordings to do the write-up. Now, this is the drill, or this is the skill that maybe I would pass it to you guys. One, make your work to sound interesting. When you're writing your report or your analysis, make your work to look interesting. And how will you do this? Don't tell us something which is obvious. Let me use an example and maybe you can judge me. Assuming I just come and say, the average salary, the mean salary for male is $41,471. The mean salary for female is $26,000. The maximum for male is 135. You see, guys, if you do that, basically what you're just trying to you're telling us what we are already seeing. So again, we'll say your research is not giving out any insight. You're just reporting the numbers that are there. So the best approach that I would advise today is, in an attempt to interpret your figures, first, use English. And when you say use English, I say don't use words like mean. Use the words like on average. So you say on average, a male is earning more than a female. If you look at that statement already, I've not even said numbers, but I'm already painting some picture to someone. On average, males are earning more than females. how did I arrive to that conclusion? I've just focused on this part, mean. And I've said, on average, if you see a man, chances are they're earning more than a female. On average. Average is an English word. After that, if I wish now to say the exact figure for male, I will now say which is now maybe 41,000, and another one is 26. But even if I leave that sentence there, if somebody comes and watch or read my work, they will already have a picture of what I'm talking about. And I've just used what? Used one part. If I come here to this part of maximum, instead of saying maximum, I would prefer now to relate with the context. Maximum is what? Maximum is highest paid person. That is the concept of maximum. So I will say the highest paid person, who is a male, or the highest paid male, is earning more than the highest paid female. So I'm trying to contextualize now my report into the theme or the context of my analysis. And so instead of just saying the maximum male is 135. So I say what? The highest paid male is earning more than the highest paid female. The next stage is now up to me. If I want, I can now introduce the figures. I say that is 135 against 58. Now, I've just used the second part, which is the part of maximum. I will even go to now what? Maybe I think even I should have started with this part of sample. Now I say with this sample size, males are more than females. Why am I saying that? Because you remember again, the concept of mean is a factor of the denominator. So if the denominator is big, then it means the mean tends to be brought down. So by you stating that males are still the majority in the sample, and their average is still coming up higher, then that sends a signal that okay, even though these guys ni wengi, bado average yao iko juu. In terms of minimum, I can say maybe yes, the lowest paid person is a female, and that female is earning around $15,000. So here, I'm not even doing comparison. I'll just say again, if you parade all these people, the person who will be least paid of everyone will be a female. Now that takes me to this part of standard deviation. All of you have been avoiding that part of standard deviation. Which now let me ask a question. What is standard deviation, and what do you think is the importance of explaining standard deviation?
Let me try.
Yes, Moses.
With the few knowledge of statistics I have, is that standard deviation is the variance between how far how far I don't know. It's about I think I'm forgetting the concept, but I want to say how far something is it something from how far something is from the mean, something of the sort. I think I'm not getting it clear. It's not coming out clear. Someone can try. Thank you.
Yeah.
Something like that. Thank you.
Something
Thank
like
you.
that. Yeah. Mhm.
Scholar.
Actually, they're referring to the deviation from the mean.
Deviation from the mean.
Yes.
Yeah, Kennedy is saying deviation from the mean. That is one way of saying it. Yes. But what all of you are trying to derive at is sometimes they call it the deviation from the mean, sometimes other people call it dispersion from the mean, or sometimes other people can still talk about a distance between a certain point and the mean. So of course, remember you have, let's say for instance, salary. So we have different salaries that are there. Somebody's earning 50, 30,000, 20. So all those are just different points in a graph or in a distribution. So what standard deviation is now the distance between one of these salary and the mean. Another distance from that amount to the mean. Are you seeing? Now those points. Now all those points are different. So if you standardize them, now you get what you call a standard deviation. Like it's the deviation for all these points when it has been standardized. Now, which takes me to my question. What type of insight do you get from standard deviation? Or what is the importance of standard deviation? Anyone who wants to try that? Okay. Good. So what I'm trying to say is, yes, you want to try?
Yeah, say from statistics, standard deviation is normally used to actually identify the outliers from a set of data, that is given to be analyzed. So where you find the outliers, to identify actually the outlier and actually treat the outliers in a statistical way.
Yes, yes, okay. Thank you, Kennedy, for that. Eli, you want to try?
Yes, I think if we use the normal curve, it's because yes, it is it is a deviation from the mean. So okay, I don't know whether, but I can explain it well using the normal curve, where you can see that deviation from the left side and also on the right side. But I can only explain it well or using a diagram.
Thank you, Eli.
Yes,
Actually, I love the
sorry.
honesty.
Actually, I have a concern.
Yes, Kennedy.
Yes, actually, you say standard deviation is actually from a measure of dispersion.
Yes,
And you see, we have been dealing with the measures of central tendency.
yes,
So under measure of central tendency, we have the descriptive statistics.
yes,
So I was getting it difficult. Actually, I was seeing the standard deviation there, but how to relate it now, because I know it is a measure of dispersion.
yes.
So that thought was not really coming out.
Good.
I think in the process of answering, you can actually highlight to us so that you relate the measure of the central, measure of dispersion and measures of central tendency, so that we can understand that bit.
Good, good.
And also to be understand whether it is descriptive as well.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, okay, fine. Let's now use English. I always tell my student, the only way you can be a good statistician or a good data analyst is understanding the complex statistical concept. You see, like when you talk about standard deviation, the word alone, or somebody said it's the square root of variance. Okay? A good analyst is not that person who understands square root of variance and then go and tell somebody else that standard deviation is square root of variance or is the dispersion from the mean. That is a smart statistician, but is not meant to solve the problem. Let me deviate kidogo. In shule or in universities, we get rewarded by repeating that standard deviation is dispersion from the mean. You get an A if you understand that concept. But if you come out here now to the world whereby you are doing either research or analysis, nobody would want to pay you to tell them that standard deviation is dispersion from the mean. They would wish to understand, what does that tell us? Now, standard deviation will tell you two things, so that now again, I'll try to differentiate between measures of central tendency and measures of dispersion. So I said, and get this one from me. Every time somebody asks you what is standard deviation, just say it's now the distance between where the mean is and now standardization of all the other distances to a certain point. Okay? That is called dispersion from the mean when it is standardized. The two things that standard deviation will tell you: one, it will tell you what we call stability. Standard deviation will inform you, it will give you insights about stability. And I'll explain what it means by stability. The second one, standard deviation will tell you about the distribution. How does your distribution looks like? I think Kennedy mentioned about this one. by introducing now the concept of outliers. So by checking the distribution, you know if in your distribution we have extreme ends, the one we call them outliers, or they are not there. Now let me marry measures of central tendency and measures of dispersion. One, measures of dispersion is meant to fix anomalies or some things that you can get away with when you've just performed measures of central tendency. But now measures of dispersion will come and flag out and say, no, this one, you passed it at measures of central tendency, but measures of dispersion will tell you there's a problem here. Let me put that into context. And I assume you're a teacher. If you have a class, and in this class, maybe you have 4 students. One student scores 90 in maths. The 3 others scores what? 40. If you do measures of central tendency and I select mean, you realize that the mean of this class will be around 50 something or 48 point something. So if you are this teacher and then you walk out and you are asked, oh, how is your class performing? You'll be quick to say, my class on average, they score around 50, or if it's so bad, 48. That might be true because you have just run measures of central tendency. But in reality, even if you didn't do any calculation, if you go and ask those individuals, oh, how much did you score? Somebody says 40, another one 40, another one 40, and then only one of them is the one who's saying 90. If you ask, on average, how is the performance in this class? You will not say in that class people are scoring average 50. You'll say people are scoring actually what? 40. Because mode and median will be 40. But you are getting away with the fact that your averages came to around 50, and you can go ahead and report that. But that 50 is not actually a true reflection of how your data looks like. Because of what? Because of this outlier. There's this student who's scoring 90, and he's the one who's now pushing the mean to go up. How will you fix that? That can be explained under the second role of standard deviation. We call it now distribution. Let me start, and then I'll again connect it now with dispersion. So I said the first thing that standard deviation will tell you is stability, and this is how it goes. When the distance or when the standard deviation is closer to the mean, the closer the standard deviation to the mean, the higher the rate of stability. I repeat, the closer the standard deviation towards the mean, the higher the rate of stability. So when the distance between the mean and the standard deviation is smaller, maybe when you're doing comparison, then you can say that distribution is more stable. That means majority of the entries are concentrated around the mean. So in a class whereby students are scoring, everyone is scoring around the mean, that is a very stable class because it's a normal class. Everyone is almost scoring at the mean. So we say stability is when the distance between the mean and the standard deviation is much closer. That is the first insight that you're going to get in standard deviation. And for those guys who are here and maybe they're doing statistics or economics or maybe business, let me put now into the application of it. If I come and ask you, maybe I have a choice. I want to invest in Kenya, or I want to invest in Rwanda. Let me use an example. I think one of my students, Scholar, for your case. Sorry, I hope you don't mind if I use your case as an example.
No problem.
Okay. So for instance, Scholar is doing her projects, and what Scholar is trying to do, she's trying to compare SMEs in Kenya and SMEs in Poland. Okay.
Mhm.
Why? Maybe someone wants to invest in Kenya or you want to invest in Poland. If you want to make a decision on that, maybe you are the analyst. Now somebody comes and asks you, yo, I want to know if I'm putting my money in Poland or I'm putting my money in Kenya. What are the factors or what will you do? One, if I were you, I would say what? Let me look at the factors that influence performance of a business in a certain country. Maybe you say you look at exchange rates or you look at inflation. In Kenya at the moment, I think our inflation is not that good. Now, how will I use standard deviation to solve this problem? What I will do as an analyst, I will check the behavior of inflation rates in Kenya over, let's say, a period of 10 years. I also go to Poland, I do the same. I check the behavior of inflation in Poland over a period of 10 years. Among the country which I will find that the standard deviation is much closer to their mean in as far as inflation is concerned, then I will denote what? I will say there is more stability in the inflation rates in that country. Which means what? It is much safer for someone to do what? To invest in that country because their money is safe. The cost of production is not that high. Remember, we said inflation is just general rising, and let's say raw material. So if you invest in country A, where the inflation is not that stable, you are getting into a lot of risk. Okay, if you invest in country B, where inflation is stable, then your money is much more safe. You don't factor in a lot of risk. So what I'm just trying to explain to you is now I've just used both measures of central tendency by extracting the mean and the mode. But again, I said that is not enough. That mean might not be a true reflection. I went ahead and looked at now the concept of stability. And I say what? Standard deviation will tell me whereby the closer the standard deviation to the mean, the higher the rates of stability. Let me close by talking about distribution, which is the second part or the second way you can get insight from standard deviation. When you talk about distribution, now that is the concept of what? Outliers. Whereby if my standard deviation, I think we'll also, when one of the assignments that I'll give you will be discussing this. If you establish that your standard deviation is actually above the mean, if your standard deviation is above the mean, then that's a good thing. It means majority of your entries are actually above the mean. So if it's a salary, you find that standard deviation of your salary is above the mean, then you can say yes, even though the mean is at $41,000, for instance, in this case, majority of your respondents are actually earning more than $41,000, and vice versa. So in this case, when you find that standard deviation is actually below the mean, then you'll say what? Even though the mean is 41, but majority of males are actually earning lower than $41,000. Okay, so like I said, if the standard deviation is above the mean, then it means your distribution is skewed to the left, and then if it's below, then you can again say it's skewed to the right. And then you can also talk about kurtosis. Okay, I know I'm jumping again into a bit of statistics, but in terms of skewness, unaangalia hiyo distribution imelala na upande gani? Is it above the mean, which is now on the right side, or below the mean, which is on the left side? And that will be told by outliers, or now the distribution. Okay, so when the mean is above, when the standard deviation is above the mean, it means most of the data are concentrated around above the mean, and if it's below, then it means most of the data are concentrated below the mean. So that can also come in terms of income. Let me use maybe give an example of application of such kind of insight. You want to start a business somewhere. You did a survey to understand the average earning of people in that area. So something like standard deviation and distribution is concerned will tell you, because you look at their standard deviation and the mean. So if you find that people living in a certain area, maybe they are earning around 100,000 a month, look at the standard deviation. In an event whereby the standard deviation is above 100,000, then you'll say, oh, that's a good place. Because even though people are earning 100, majority are actually earning above 100,000, which now it will help you with coming up with, let's say, effective pricing of your commodities. Okay, so good. I hope I've been able to explain or answer some of you, unless there's any other question or something I can clarify in terms of mean and sorry, standard deviation and mean.
Good. Just a concern from Kennedy.
Yes, Kennedy.
Yeah, based on actually your valued explanation, I just have a concern about still the treatment of such statistical data. Does this software have a provision for the treatment of the data in case an outlier is realized from the data?
Yes. What Kennedy is trying to ask is, what are the prerequisite for analysis? What it means here is, what should you do before you start even saying, now I'm running my analysis? And if we identify that there's some anomalies, can the software SPSS solve that? So we say, okay, what should you do with these outliers? So what do you do with this student who's scoring 90? Should we throw him out of that class and say, no, well, you're too smart with the rest, talk awende? Or, and remember again, with outliers can come from both ends. It can be on the lower side or the upper side. I think, Kennedy, to go back to your question, yes, there are some few tests, we call them pre-analysis tests, whereby sometimes they need to be done. One of them is like a normality test. Remember, in most cases here, I'll just preempt right now, you will appreciate that we'll be working more of, we'll be performing what you call parametric test. And parametric test basically is just saying, we're doing what you call, we're working under the assumption that our data is normal. I think somebody was telling me about the graph. So at this entire time, we will be assuming that our data is just a normal data, okay? Which is now what we referred as parametric, those tests that you assume you are normal. But we don't want, at a certain levels, or maybe depending with now with your level with statistics and analysis, sometimes you don't work with just assumption. So you might be told, before you run any analysis, how about you start by checking if actually that data is normal? That's why we normally do what we call normality test. And with normality test, this is where, let me just mention, maybe you can go and look at it later, or maybe when we are doing data and you can ask me to show you how you can do that. So actually with normality test, which is one of the tests that you will perform, there are two types. We have what we call Kolmogorov test, Kolmogorov normality test. This is some Russian guy who came up with some provision to conduct a normal data or to check for normality. And then we also have another guy called Jakubera. We call it the JB test. So JB test and Jakubera test and Kolmogorov, those are now two provisions for normality. And if you do that normality, now you'll be able to see by maybe coming up with a histogram or a scatter plot to show you if you have outliers. And then how to remove that outliers, then there's some books which says you can replace the outlier with the mean, or you can delete the outlier by now removing that if there are few. But now again, there's some provisions towards how you should now correct. Like one of them is focusing on the mean, or replacing that point with a mean, or removing it. Yeah, Eli, question?
Yes, Mwalimu. I just wanted to know,
yes,
if we can use descriptive statistics for data cleaning.
Yes, actually, what we are doing at the moment, we're doing descriptive statistics to understand our data even more. So we have introduced standard deviation. We are still trying to figure out much more about standard deviation, which is part of it. Actually, we are at the descriptive statistics stage. So yes, it's true to use descriptive statistics to understand your data.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. And then, guys, as I wind up, because I think my time is up already, there's a lot. Actually, let me just be honest. For those guys who are eyeing NGOs, non-governmental organizations, or what you call operational research. Okay, research now for, let's say, organization. Guys, I'll just confess here and tell you that majority of those analysis that you will be doing there is purely descriptive. I think Jackson, I don't know if I can relate with you when we were looking at your data sometime last year. You could see that we are just playing around some descriptive from Excel, trying to clean that thing from Excel, which I think it had a lot of junk. So I'm sure you're one of the guys who can attest here that sometimes you do much more of data cleaning, and then the next one is just descriptive statistics. So with that said and done, let's call it a day. And then tomorrow, I will try as much as possible to finish. Oh, okay. We need to have a discussion on that. Okay, Jackson's still working on that. Perfect. I think by now, Jackson, we can do a better job than the way we were doing last year. But it's good that.
Sure, thanks so much. Yeah.
Okay. So what should you do about tomorrow? I feel like I should pose it now to you guys. I'm told tomorrow is a holiday. Yes. So what should you do about it? I want opinions. So that should we have a class or okay, and let's rest. Okay. I think even I was about to mention one of us is supposed to be praying. Abdiaziz. I don't know if you're there. Abdiaziz. Okay. Sawa. We have someone. Okay. We have Jackson. Jackson is saying we should rest. I also stand with Jackson, but again, yeah. So we are three. I was also feeling the same. Since Abdi is a member of the class, it will not be fair for us to have a session and he's not there. So yes, tomorrow let's rest. Yes. Let me settle for that. Let's rest tomorrow. But again, I will request that I have a makeup class. I will request that we have a makeup class, most probably on Friday, if you guys will allow, so that at least we compensate tomorrow. Okay, so we'll create a makeup class for tomorrow, but tomorrow let's give Abdi a chance to celebrate. I wish I knew what we are celebrating. Yes, 8 p.m. Friday, but we'll discuss that. Yeah, I think 8 p.m. Friday is okay. 8 p.m. Friday, we have a class. Guys, good night. And for those that I will meet in qualitative analysis class, see you on Wednesday. For the rest, see you on Friday.